As we start the new year, I want to do something that's become a bit of a tradition here, and that's looking forward and talking honestly about what I think could happen in the coming year 2026 in the Hamilton housing market. Right up front, let's be clear, these are not guarantees by any means. These are educated guesses based on data, patterns, and what we've been seeing over the past couple of years. But because real estate is messy and emotional and constantly changing, I could be way off. But let me take a stab at it. Now, if you're new here, my name is Morgan Little. I'm a realtor here in the Hamilton area. I make videos breaking down the Hamilton housing market and surrounding area. I try to do it without hype or panic. And if you've been following along with the journey, I want to say thank you. Now, let's get into it. Starting with prediction number 1, where 2026 continues to see Hamilton as an end user market. Before we talk about sales, prices, or rates, this I think is going to be the big theme. But what does that mean? Well, in my opinion, the market in 2026 is going to be driven by real people who need homes. Families, first-time homebuyers, downsizers, not investors. Hamilton isn't immune to speculation, but it hasn't had the same investor craze, especially within condos, as Toronto has. And because of that, we're seeing a market that's slower, more cautious, and more rational. People who buy in 2026 are buying because they want to live here and can afford to live here, really, but they're not coming here expecting massive appreciation. There really are two types of buyers in Hamilton. People from Hamilton who think prices are too expensive because they've seen the drastic rise in prices over the last number of years, and the people who are coming from the GTA who think prices are affordable, especially compared to Toronto. With the way the market is going, I think both of these people are going to find a happy medium. Those that are ready and willing to make a move, and they'll be able to make a purchase if it's something they're looking to do. Prediction number 2, building off that, investors are going to continue to stay sidelined. This is not really an investor-friendly market. Cash flow is difficult to come by. Down payments need to be larger. Risk feels higher. And the average BRRRR investor, which stands for buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat, a common investment strategy, that's just not working very well these days. Some long-term investors will step in selectively, especially in the freehold market, but condo investors, for the most part, I think will stay sidelined in 2026. Hot take though, because a lot of investors have been sidelined, they're looking elsewhere, they've gone to Alberta, many have gone to the US. I think that if you are a smaller investor looking to get into the market, the coming years are going to be a good time for you. Number 3, sales activity picks up well before prices do. In Hamilton, we've been operating at very low transaction levels for quite some time. I think in 2026, we're going to see a modest increase in that. Maybe 5 to 10% more sales, but without prices jumping. This means more listings actually sell, fewer listings expire. There's still going to be plenty of room for negotiation, but I think movement returns before confidence does. And that leads me into number 4, which is the spring market isn't going to be what we usually expect it to be. And I know this is going to come as bad news for a lot of sellers who I've been speaking to who are holding off in the fall and early winter months saying, I'm just going to wait, not list until the spring market when I know everything picks up again. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. We may see a small bump as we generally do. People start waking up from winter, start thinking about real estate again, but I don't think we're going to see the traditional spring market. I had been warning people late in 2025 that they're probably best to list now and try and get sold rather than waiting till spring, but we'll see how that turns out. Number 5, freehold, as in single family detached homes, outperform condos. That's already been happening, and I think it continues. In Hamilton, freehold homes, that's detached, semi-detached, even freehold townhomes in family-friendly neighborhoods will remain to be resilient. Whereas when it comes to condos, small units with no parking, investor-owned condos, and older buildings with rising fees, I think these all continue to struggle. But that does create opportunity for those who are looking. Number 6, rental prices soften slightly. This one might surprise people because rents feel expensive. They have gone up. But even since they've gone up, they've come down a little bit. And I think we see a little bit more of that. Why? Because there's more supply hitting the market. Investor-owned condo prices are coming down because they're harder to rent. They're less desirable to have that small space in a city where you don't necessarily have to live that. This isn't downtown Toronto. It makes sense for certain people who want to be in the core, work there, their life is there. but other people have other options. We're also seeing more purpose-built rentals hit the market, something that we didn't really have in previous years. Existing tenants won't notice this difference, but newer listings are going to have less leverage than they've had in previous years. Number 7, new construction remains a problem. I don't see 2026 as the year that pre-construction suddenly starts working again. Prices don't make sense, users aren't excited about it, and investors can't make the numbers work. Some already built inventory will hit the market, but new starts, I think, are still going to continue to struggle. Hamilton developers are facing the same math problems that everyone else is. Number 8, mortgage renewals and power of sales. The so-called mortgage renewal cliff that has been perpetrated in the headlines is going to be more of a small hill or a speed bump, I believe. Yes, many homeowners who are renewing in 2026 are going to see higher payments, no doubt. But I don't think it's necessarily going to be the flood of listings that the headlines have been predicting. Because people are resilient. Most will adjust. They'll cut spending where need be, especially on their primary residence. They're not just going to let it go so they can continue to live an opulent lifestyle. I think everyone now knows and feels that we are in a bit of a recession and some tightening has to happen. And because of this, I think it'll limit the number of power of sales that we've been hearing are going to happen. Much of the financial strain that's been happening in 2024 and 2025 takes time to really show up. Don't get me wrong, there are more to come, but like I said, it's a bit of a lag indicator and we'll probably see some more later on. But the ones from 2021 and 2022, they've already been happening and will continue to happen. But because, like I said, people are going to do what they can to try to make it work, I don't think we're necessarily going to see this flood hit the market in 2026. Most people who got a low rate during that time were stress tested at over 5%. So rates did go up, but they've now come back down to around that 4% rate. So yes, they'll be paying more than they were, but they were stress tested, so that affordability for them should technically still be there. Unless, of course, they've had, loss of job and that stuff happens. But I think that most people will be able to make it work, though they might have to tighten things up, like I mentioned. Some won't be able to for sure, and we're going to continue to see some power of sale listings. But again, I just don't think it's going to be that massive number that has been in the headlines and that some other people have predicted. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Number 9, mortgages. I'm not a mortgage broker, but what I gather from speaking to them, it seems that fixed rates should hover around that 4% rate. I don't think in 2026 that we're going to see a massive drop in fixed rates by any means, but I also don't think they'll necessarily head north of 5%. Again, these numbers are all very dependent on your personal situation, but I'm just talking for the average person. That's enough to get some buyers potentially off the sidelines. Not a frenzy by any means, but those who are looking to move up or move here from the GTA. And a bonus prediction, number 11, the one you've been waiting for, prices. We kind of touched on this when we talked about sales, but I think prices will continue to trend downwards. I get comments on my videos all the time saying prices have to drop another 50-60%. I don't really see that happening. They've come down from the peak in 2022, 20-25%. That's a healthy drop from an artificially inflated ceiling. But they did not plummet. They slowly slid down, and I think we'll continue to see a bit more of that until some real confidence starts to return to the market. So all that being said, 2026 isn't going to be an exciting year in real estate, I don't think. I think it's going to be fairly flat. Like I said, we might see prices come down a little bit more. I think we'll see sales maybe tick up a little bit more. It's going to be one of those years people are going to wait and see what happens. Those who are ready might start to see some opportunity and decide to come into the market. 2027, we'll have to see. I'm not going to make any long-term predictions for that, but that is what I see happening in 2026 in the Hamilton market. It's not dramatic, but I think it's kind of a good thing because I think people are going to be able to make decisions without feeling panicked. Because people will still buy, people will still sell. People have life changes that happen and they have to make moves. That will happen no matter what. The market's not crashing to the ground. Things will continue. Life goes on. But I think people are waiting for some sort of clarity. And hopefully 2026 can bring that. If I can ever be of any help, there's a link below. Feel free to book a call. Until then, I thank you for watching and I'll see you on the next one.